restrictions of their own. If you weren't in the city limits of the city, you could go out to the county and buy a piece of property and put up whatever operation you wanted.
What restrictions did you find for the county?
Well, since we didn't ask the county about any restrictions when we moved in, we didn't find any.
So you didn't ask the county about the restrictions, you just asked them if you were in Elmendorf city limits or if you were in the county?
We didn't ask the county that, we asked the title company to verify that we weren't in any city limits.
Councilwoman Greenhouse, maybe that, so the issue that they're in uncontrolled zoning, counties by statute do not have zoning authority. So it would not have been a question that you would have had to ask. Yes, sir, I just want to make sure.
So you did say that you are looking at being a good neighbor.
Yes.
Obviously. So in being a good neighbor, you also say that you aren't going to invest in making the changes.
No, we're willing to invest.
Only if we accept the rezoning.
Well, I can't make the changes. I'm willing to make the investment a month ago when we got the report, or whatever the date it was, but I can't do it legally because I can't get the permits.
Right.
Until you approve this, then I can get the permits and then I can spend the money to do it.
Right, so these, so I see a lot of, let me see, obviously it's the fire report, so a lot of safety issues, safety concerns, things like that. So that, and I also read that if you're housing approximately how many people?
About 8 to 10 people, depending on the shift.
Okay, so that's housing those people.
It's transient housing, it's not permanent.
Right.
So.
That just correlates kind of with the safety of the property. I mean, I would assume that you want it to be safe for the
Yes.
people that are there. Not only that, but the people that are around. So
That's correct.
That's kind of a concern for me that those weren't met solely on you meeting them,
Mm-hmm.
asking what's the best, what are the fire regulations, how's the best way to keep my employees safe and the people around us safe.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely a concern.
Mm-hmm.
Not until we denied it, and then we were kind of but advised into looking into that. That's when you took that next step to be a good neighbor, as you put it. So those are my comments and concerns on the issue.
Well, we do have and did have fire alarms in there. We felt that there were no safety issues at the house ourselves, being adult human beings. There are plenty of entry and exit areas inside that house where the guys stay. We felt that there was no issues. I mean, obviously, the garage was wired properly, it just wasn't inside conduit. That was one of his comments. We have a road where a fire engine can get down there, but the fire marshal feels that it needs to be improved, which we're willing to do, et cetera, and everything that he listed. A lot of them, again, are simple things that we can do. For instance, drawing out a drawing saying, officially, this is the exit you use if you're sleeping in here. We feel grown men know where the exits are, but if that's a requirement for commercial business within the city limits of Elmendorf and in Bear County, we'll certainly do it.
I remember very well the last time we met, and that we had an audience out here, and one thing that stuck to me was whether Elmendorf was going to become an industrial town. We're becoming a city pretty fast. And that stuck to me. And I think I based my decision on that comment that I heard very well at that time. And also, right now, what I just saw, I haven't been impressed with.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you refer to these individuals as people and guys. Are they your employees or?
Employees, employees, yes.
Employees, they're not just people.
No, they're employees of Select On-Site Services.
Okay, they are, you got 10 employees, 8 to 10 employees.
Well, the company has about 30 employees. We have employees that come from the Dallas-Fort Worth area to work down here. And when they're here, they stay at the house, and they stay 10 days, and they leave, and then another group comes in and replaces them. We also have employees that live in the San Antonio area. We've had a couple that have lived in Elmendorf, for instance. I think our next door neighbor worked for a school out, didn't he? And moved to West Texas just recently.
So
So,
headquarters is where?
Irving, Texas.
Irving?
Yes, sir.
When your companies, for the safety of citizens, are you all bonded, insured?
We are. We're well insured. We don't have
Anyone
any.
that's hurt or injured, or if the company hurts a citizen, Elmendorf citizen?
We have a massive liability policy. We're fully insured on auto. We have an umbrella policy, so that would likely cover just about anything that happened. We hope that doesn't ever happen.
That's by headquarters in Irving, Texas?
Yes, sir.
And before you even started the business or anything, you didn't at any time go contact any of the authorities, Bear County authorities, as to?
No, again, since there's no zoning within the county, we didn't have to, and we thought we were in the county, we didn't have any concerns about contacting Bear County for zoning, and we did not know that we were in the city of Elmendorf. Again, we thought we were in the county, so we didn't contact them.
So the county doesn't have anything, anybody can just start a business and go?
It appears that they have a fire marshal's issue that we found out.
That's what we're.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
Any other questions?
More comments. As far as goes to the business, I know you said you just started here in March 2018, but how long has the company been around?
since 2011.
With that being said, you also know that with what you work with, you also have guidelines you have to meet in any location,
That's correct.
but yet those weren't met here.
Well, we do have a yard in Odessa, Texas, and we purchased that for the same reason. It has 2 housing units on it, it has storage, it has oil on it, etc. And we are outside the city limits of Odessa because we're west of it. And we've never had any issues, questions, comments, or visits from the county whatsoever. When we bought that, we were under the same issue. And basically, when we moved in here, since we thought we were in the county, we figured it would be the same.
Well, out there, it's also in Odessa, you're looking at a barren area where there's really very scattered business, and what it is also business that's coming from across the board. And the only reason I'm familiar with it is because I've got a company that sits out there that we work with. As to here, this is more, there is residential, and it is a closer area where I would hope as a business, like you said, that you would look at, again, making sure all the guidelines were met, because if you guys have been around for that long of a time, you also know you've got requirements you have to meet, and CEQ also is part of those guidelines, that they have these requirements, especially with the items that you work with.
We have met all the TCEQ requirements at this point. We were unaware of them at that point. We've operated in North Dakota, we've operated in El Reno, Oklahoma, we've operated and we continue to operate in Odessa, Texas. Where we're at in Odessa, it's a mixed-use area where there's a lot of small businesses, and then there's a lot of residences. And when we decided to buy this piece of property, I looked at it. It was 5 acres. It was kind of open. Everything to the east was open. Across the street, it's all open. So, and we were on the very outskirts of Elmendorf, which, it was a small community. I have a house in a small community that's blown up and blowing up like Elmendorf, so I realize, that you're having a lot of things to consider as your city grows with a long-term plan, etc. But we figured by being right on the main road where it's going to develop into probably auto shops and retail establishments, and it's going to the homes that are along 1604, given the expansion, there's going to be less and less residents that want to live right on the major highway. And it looked to me, when I looked at the place, like, hey, we're far enough from Elmendorf, we aren't going to bother them. Everything to the east and the south was pretty much open, it looks like farmland. So we figured that we had a good spot to put our business that wouldn't bother too many people.
And with all due respect, as a businessman, I apologize that you were misconstrued and, you know, had lies told to you. But me as a citizen of the city, again, my concerns are that there still is safety issues, and as a resident, like the gentleman explained himself, you're right, you can't put barriers, but you can't stop sound, and another thing he said as far as those trucks, yes, they're running 24/7, but a big stream of them are during the day, and in the evening, I know I want to sleep. And I'm sure, you know, so, again, no disrespect to you, and I will continue to say that, but it's just, I'm more concerned as the citizens of the city.
All right, I'm gonna take one more question, then I'll speak and we'll move on. Sir?
Randy?
Oh, did you have your hand up? I'm sorry, I didn't
No,
see.
you
Go
put it
ahead.
down.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he can, but
Okay.
don't skip me.
Go ahead, Ms. Linda.
Okay. You pointed out about the fire marshal and that there were things that didn't pertain to you. But in this report, it says not applicable. So none of that counted against you. It just says not applicable. So, you know, don't make it seem like he gigged you, like, got you really bad on some of those, because that says not applicable. He got you on the ones that did pertain to you. Okay, and then the other thing being, I know I sound like a broken record, but I'm gonna say it over and over until everybody actually hears me. You were mentioning about TCEQ. We met TCEQ this and we met TCEQ and that. And the thing that got me the worst at that other meeting was because that man told me whole face, I don't know what TCEQ is.
He probably doesn't.
Well, I can't believe that you would have this business and he would not know that. Okay, and then, when we had that meeting, we chose to shut you down, did we not?
I don't know, I wasn't there.
Okay, does anybody remember? I mean, did we not say that they should?
It was denied, yes.
Okay, it was denied. Okay, and since then, you've been running the business, yes?
Yes, correct.
Okay, that's not a friendly neighbor.
Well,
I don't consider that a friendly neighbor, because if they told you that you did not meet the requirements and we denied you, that's not a friendly neighbor. So from here on, whatever, I know they approved it, but if you were to be approved, I don't feel that you would be a friendly neighbor.
Well, I understand your situation, and I appreciate your comments. I understand that Ron was told that we need to come back and reapply for the rezoning. And that's what
I
we're doing.
believe he asked if he could reapply. We did not go to him. He asked us, correct?
That's correct. He approached the city attorney and myself after the meeting.
Mayor? Yes.
If I may, just to point something out as well. Regardless of what you decide, if you decide that you do want to accept the P&Z's recommendation, it doesn't necessarily mean that once the zoning is changed, that it lets SOS off the hook. There are still, even if the zoning is changed to industrial, there are still requirements that they have to meet in order to meet the city code, in order to meet the TCEQ rules and regs and so forth. So it doesn't just end here. If you do give them a chance and they don't follow through, then there are other avenues that the city can take to ensure that they do follow through to meet those requirements. That's just some food for thought.
All right, one more question.
Yes, sir. My name is Ben Davis. I live next door to Albert on 1604.
Yes, sir.
And I've been in that house where these men live before, I knew the owner, prior owner. And it's just a house, a regular, home. It was a home. It has 2 restrooms. That's it. The rest is wood frame house. I don't see how they get 10 people sleeping in there. It's just like a flop house. And they've had a fire over there. They lit up the sky one night. Didn't last very long, but the sky was glowing. 'Cause I could see it from my carport. I didn't report it. I heard a lot of hollering over there, but it went down in about 5 minutes. But the sky was lit up orange.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
We had no knowledge of any of that. We were here at 6:30.
Okay. We're fine. We're.
But again, what was put in front of us was to change zoning, that's it. We're not the EPA, we're not the TEQ, CQ, we're not Bear County Fire Marshal, and neither are y'all. We're just simply, do we want to rezone? And then if they don't do their homework and make everything up to regulations, then there's further things that can be done.
The only concern that I have is, you were saying where to the east was pretty open. To the south, well, right now it's open.
Correct. That is correct.
I know you heard I believe you heard what's coming.
Yes, sir.
There's actually two big things coming there. One is our water plant. That's the only big concern that I have. That was number one for me. If something happens, you're that close. The other one for me is the homes that are coming. South won't be barren anymore, you know? It's, those are my number two where that worry me. Other than that, I have nothing else just to say.
Yes, sir.
I would just say that if you're gonna go ahead and let them rezone, then maybe I'll sell my property and rezone it too, and follow his footsteps. I mean, I don't mind doing it. If he's gonna do it, probably the neighbors will start doing it. It only takes one so that people can continue, you know.
All right. Fish Slaughter, did you have something to say?
I was just wondering if you could give them a time limit to get all these things done, these corrections, that I didn't know that the water plant was gonna be directly across the road either, because I don't live but maybe a mile, 2 miles away from where they are. And at first I was like, you know, where is this place? Until he said White Fence, and, you know, now I know where they are.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna move on. So with everything that was discussed, is there a motion for 4?
I go to decline the rezone.
I second.
Linda seconds, all in favor? All 5. I apologize, sir.
It's okay. I understand.
All right. Item number 5, discuss some possible action regarding the approval of the final plat and plans for Hickory Ridge Unit 1. I'm gonna let Gary speak on that one for a little bit.
Okay.
Number 5.
Well, we have a new name. It used to be Ranch Elmendorf, now it's Hickory Ridge. It just changed here in the last few weeks. We went through one round of comments on the plat and plans. They've addressed, I think, like 27 on my first comment response letter. Mostly minor things. They're working through those. They resubmitted day before yesterday with the second round of plans and plat. Still working through reviews on that. One of the big things that we're waiting on is the developer's agreement to discuss water, sewer, fees, winter fees paid, that type of thing. So we're working through approval on plat plans and then waiting for the developer's agreement. Also, there's CPS electrical, we're waiting on their approval of the plat. TxDOT is reviewing the plat and plans for access, and U.S. Postal Service is reviewing street names. So we thought that might come together by the council meeting, but it hasn't at this point, so we're still waiting on
This was, correct me if I'm wrong, this was the Hickory Ridge Unit 1 was the old ranch at Elmendorf?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, which one was that? I'm sorry.
That's the one at 1604 and 181.
That's
That's
just
big.
it.
Yeah, that's the
Big,
big.
big.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're very close. I've been reviewing the plans and geotech report and traffic impact analysis and all of that. As I said, the first letter had, I think, 27 comments on it. Right now, I have 3 left. So we're getting close, but it should make your July meeting. As soon- As long as they get us the developer's agreement fairly soon here. So we can work through that.
I would recommend that we table this one then until the July meeting, if they have the thing ready then. A motion for 5.
I said,
You gonna make a motion?
Mayor can't.
I can't.
No.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, go
I'll
ahead.
make a motion to table it till next council meeting.
I said it.
Dario seconds, all in favor? All 5. Item number 6, discuss and possible action regarding resolution 06-20-2019-1R, establishing fees for municipal services.
Mayor, this is more of a housekeeping item because the state legislature